do. Yes, it has host live. Yeah, I got a bunch of interviews and stuff set up too, which I'm trying to do for this channel. Because that's like I was saying when we were on Memory Hole the other night. I said one of the benefits to this channel is, if you guys are following me on the Rockfin, you're able to get the content from both channels and not have to miss shit. And then eventually, I'm gonna probably because some of those are longer on my Hebrew apologetics. Like when it gets to like the stuff which everybody cares about, those kind of issues where it's not, even heavily talking a lot Bible. I'll throw some of that stuff on there also. I know later on, I'm like I'm gonna give it a test, trial run, see how it goes, because I know that a lot of people in our circles tend to be on the I'll say people who used to be kind of more in our circles, where we were kind of more in that leftist bubble, and I feel like now we've kind of floated to that more apolitical. So we have an amalgamation of different groups and ideas and bubbles we're kind of floating into. So, but sorry everybody, we just get going chatting. This is what I've been thinking with Marcus Cage channel. We're also on the Political Matrix Rockfin channel, and I'm here with a good friend, colleague, Mr. Steve Poikonen of Slow News Days. How are we doing, brother?
What's happening, man? How are you? It's good to see you.
I'm doing good. I was going to do a live stream earlier. My guest, he had some stuff going on, had to handle some of that stuff, and I was like, I still want to live stream today, and I don't really know what I want to talk about. And then when I saw you were down to come on, I thought about, oh wait a minute, Steve is in Vegas. Crap, let me talk to him about that flooding. So what's going on with that, man?
Well, right before I went on the air with Slow News Day this morning, we got a flash flood warning. I mean, it's monsoon season. It's monsoon season.
Because I was going to ask, is that normal? Like for it to do that?
It really is. We were talking about this a little bit on the show this morning. Ryan Christian, the Last American Vagabond, got like 3 or 5 more Twitter accounts suspended and like permanent ban kind of thing. And a handful of them were definitely not Ryan. They were just posting the pirate streams and stuff like that. And so he was like, hey, can I pop in to say, what the hell? And I'm like, of course, man, what we do. But he was like, yo, can we talk for a minute about this really weird psyop that's going on right now, where weather that has always happened, that happens every year to, varying numbers of degrees, how it's right now, all of a sudden, this never before seen, totally out of the ordinary. Oh my God, we're naming heat waves after hot chicks now. They did that. For the first time ever, they named the heat wave. It was Heat Wave Zoe. Like that's a real thing that happened. You can all go look it up. Heat Wave Zoe. They're legit naming heat waves after hot chicks. Like I can't wait until we have Heat Wave Cinnamon and Heat Wave Mercedes.
Stripper names now.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's funny you mentioned like all of these things happening all at the same time. Like right now, there's the wildfires that are going on the Oregon-California border, and then you got the flooding, which is going on in, I think that's Kentucky, where like 20 people have died. And then of course, like we covered it on the Political Matrix about the fires that are going on all over Europe. So it's been an interesting time.
But okay, let's consider a couple of things. The spontaneous fires all over Europe happened when it was 88, 89 degrees. That's not spontaneous combustion heat. Like I understand that that's hot for the UK. I do. 90 degrees, that's hot for the UK. Hot enough to make things spontaneously combust. Hot enough to make the forest catch on fire. Bro. No.
Well, even when they say like some of the temperatures have gotten into the 90s, but still, we got to remember in the winter and spring, you have precipitation. It's not that dry there. It's literally not that dry. Now, okay, Italy, you tell me that. Certain parts of Italy, I lived in Sicily. It was hot as fuck back then when I was living over there. I mean, we're talking like 110, in Sicily, where it's next to, north coast of Africa. It gets fucking hot as hell there. I get that. So to say all of a sudden that this is something different from that, or even in Greece, gets, well, depending on which part of Greece, you got that island Greece, it makes it a little different. But all of this weather, even if it's in areas where it's a little bit hotter, it's not, okay, 5 degrees hotter, 10 degrees hotter, it doesn't seem like it's making sense with this spontaneous fire stuff.
We're still not setting or meeting record-setting years, except for in like maybe 1 or 2 random places that are within a half of a degree of what the record was set anywhere from like 1992 to 1916 or 1876. The Death Valley's hottest day still is 134 degrees, which is nowhere near what it's been this year, and it's been hot this year. Yeah. I'm not gonna. I'm in Vegas. I'm not gonna act like the last like week and a half when it's been below 110 every day because it's monsoon season. It hasn't been nice, but it's still freaking Texas. It's still tropical because it's a freaking monsoon. So when the wind and the rain comes through, it doesn't really drop in temperature that much. The humidity spikes, and you walk outside and you need a shower.
Yeah.
But like it's not biblical that it rains a lot during monsoon season. It's kind of supposed to. What's been really rare in Vegas is that the last few years it hasn't. They really haven't had, like, they had like a sprinkle the last couple of years. It rained hard enough over the last few days to where, like, the 50, 60, 70-year-old casino architecture and, cut corner mafia construction had some skylights go. Some skylights went, some other leaks went. It blew out a TV in one of the casinos, and it was just like pouring rain through a TV screen into which was hilarious.
Yeah,
and I mean, really, fuck them. That I don't care. I've said this many times. If I want to gamble, I will do it the old-fashioned way. If I want to lose all my money, if I just want to give it away, I'll do it the old-fashioned way. I will fall in love and get divorced. That's how I'll get rid of all of my money. I don't need to gamble. I don't. I gamble with my health and my sanity, like, all the time. Fucking money, no.
Yeah, I mean, well, think about it. Everything in life is kind of a gamble. I mean, shit, walking across the street's a gamble. It's just a matter of the percentage. I mean, I remember being in London and almost getting hit by a double-decker bus. And he had, they always talk about no pause, no brakes, whatever. Yeah, he was no pause, no brakes. It was like, oh, well, walk out in front of me and it's your ass.
Yep. So, and now getting accepted to college can make you so happy that you'll spontaneously combust from joy.
I saw that on your timeline. I was like, wait a minute. What the hell? And so that sent me down a rabbit hole also. So the person who like tweeted that out, I went down their page, and it was interesting. Got me into a little bit of a Twitter spat with somebody. And you know how it gets when you get into those, like, I guess people who are fanatical about their political opponents. Like, they said some dumb shit, and then I called them out on it, and then they were like, oh, well, they said, because I guess one of the next clips was like somebody got this jackass. I will completely admit it, jackass. Black dude, he grabs this Asian lady. It doesn't matter what was said, what was going on or whatever. Maybe he robbed her. He throws her down the stairs. Then she only goes partially down the stairs. So he runs down, throws her down more of the stairs, then runs down and makes sure she goes all the way down the whole stairs. And the comment, and it was horrific. Like, in like another one before that, it was like some dude getting like kicked in the head and like stomped out by African migrant. And I get a lot of the outrage there. And so, I start going back and forth with these different people. Of course, how I do. I'm a Marcus Rage one. But the lady was like, and they wonder why black men get shot. And I'm like, why can't you focus that just on that guy? Why you gotta put all black men into it? It's like, so this asshole over in New York does something to an older Asian lady, and that makes it justified if somebody does some shit to me over here. And then she tried to back it out to, oh well, it's the climate we're in. Our president, the president we have is an asshole. And I'm like, don't try to change the subject. This president's an asshole. The last president was an asshole. Most of these presidents are assholes. Most of them are corrupt. What's your point? None of them give a shit about us. Why are you even? Don't try to backtrack out of it. You could just be like, I didn't mean it that way. I actually meant that guys who do this shit, whatever. But some people, they never want to just be like, I misspoke. I probably shouldn't have said it that way. Me, I ain't gonna get too bothered about it, but you gotta, every now and then when you get down these rabbit holes,
right,
you get in these tiffs with these people,
right.
But I don't know, Steve, as my friend, you feel I was wrong for calling her out?
No. Look, it's just you can only, I don't know, dude. I try so hard not to engage on Twitter. I try so hard.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
My MO. It's hard though. It's hard.
That's how you get reported. It's how you get suspended. I just yelled at, not yelled at, but just was the Sugar, who's gonna do the new show with me starting next month. She gets in trouble all the time, and I'm like, but you engage with these idiots.
Yeah.
That's how you get in trouble. And she's like, I know, but they're stupid and wrong online, and I have to let them know. And I'm like, shit post and walk away. Shit post and walk away. And then get horrifically shadow banned every time you try to promote something. But don't engage. Don't engage. It's just, it's such a deliberate time suck. You're not going to change that person's mind. Like, yeah, sure, there's the off chance that somebody's going to scroll by and see that specific thing and be interested enough to like follow it down and then follow it up. But the reality of that happening versus you being able to communicate it via your platform, via, going on other people's shit like that. I don't know, dude. If you're gonna catch anybody, you're gonna catch them that one time somebody with more fucking pull than you retweets you.
Yeah, I mean, well, and you're right about it. I normally don't do that. Well, that's the reason why I got 4 Twitter accounts. That's the one where I go into all that stuff. But I'm starting to see that it's not even really matter. Like on my Young Morpheus Political Matrix one, I really only I put out my episodes, of course, people I follow, like you guys, the morning show. I retweet that out. I retweet out, Indie Left, INN, stuff where I'm like, okay, I watch this. I think you guys, it's worth the watch. You guys are going to learn something. I don't even really get into it. I don't even really retweet that much outside of, news and politics. I'm not even going back and forth with people, but for some reason, it seems like and I felt after I made my account a podcaster, I've just tried to be really strict about not engaging, not doing any of that stuff. But for some reason, it seems like they really mess with my views. I can look at my engagement. It's like if you have 3,000 subscribers or followers, whatever the hell they call it, and you're only getting 5 people who see the tweet. Why is that? Only 5 are seeing the tweet, and you get 1 like out of it, unless I literally tag somebody, or I send it to somebody in a DM. It's weird how that shit works.
Dude, it's brutal. I have 21,000 people that follow my Twitter account, or about 21,000. So I'm right around there right now. There's every time I like start to gain momentum, Twitter will pump the brakes on it significantly. There will be days when I will see hundreds of people follow the account, and I'll have a net loss of about like 150 followers, something like that. And not even on days where I'm posting much, not even on days where I'm like being extra, kind of me about it, I guess.
That's now that you mention it, I've noticed it. Now I'm not, even though it's on a smaller level, I'm still seeing it enact the same way. I might not have, and like in some of the group DMs we have, like sometimes like I'll be so busy I haven't even gotten in, or you'll see that. Oh, obviously Marcus just caught the DMs because now he just retweeted something out 2 days later because I'll be so backed up on stuff. And I'm not tweeting anything out like for a full day. I might have tweeted one thing the whole entire day, just retweeting an episode. And I'm losing subscribers when I'm not even doing anything. And then all of a sudden I look in there and I have a whole group of new, like, because since it'll stay so close to the same, I don't even notice that I'm gaining or losing. I just assume it's staying the same because I'm seeing the amount roughly go up 1 or 2, go down a little, go up 1 or 2, go down a little. And then when I look in, followers, I got like an extra 50 people who are in there that, because me, if they're talking about the similar stuff and interesting topics and stuff, I follow back, anybody. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't look like, as long as you don't have one of those accounts where you've been on Twitter for like 8 years and you posted 50 things, then I'm not touching your shit. Kelly says, looks like Bob Ross painting behind you, Steve.
It is a Johnny Bravado painting behind me, which makes them even happier little trees. In fact, if you go to johnnylarson.com right now, you too can look at this painting, order it as a print, and hang it in your house, along with tons of other really cool stuff that the guy who turned me and Glory and Sleepy into cartoons for the show, and has a couple other shirts that he's been working on for about a year and a half now that he's sort of kind of getting around to finishing for me, that we'll be releasing, when we do. But yeah.
I need to get a hold of him and have him do that with me and Chris. That'd be pretty cool.
Dude, he's the shit, but he is slow.
Well, but that's kind of how it is when you get like an actual artist. Artists have the talent, but they're not necessarily about the efficiency all the time.
Well, he's busy too. He's trying to like make a living slinging his art, and he's not getting it from like the once every 15 months that I have an idea for.
Yeah,
I get it. I do.
I mean, I get it. It makes perfect sense.
I got high in your living room, Johnny. That should mean something. We're Aura twins. We're Aura twins. Weird story.
I was wondering, like you guys have been talking about a lot of interesting stuff, and I want to kind of run this by you. You know me, I'm always like paying attention to like that tech shit, and me and you both, how we feel about the damn robots. I saw this thing. This is like supposed to be the new life-saving thing. It is a drone that has like little grabbers on it, and it's supposed to like, oh no, it's just going to be peaceful for if you're out in the middle of the ocean or you're out swimming. That way we can replace lifeguards and they don't have to take the risk, and it just swoops right down and grabs you by your shoulders and yanks you out of the water. That's the new thing which they have, and also it brings out the little little red floaty thing lifeguards has. The exoskeleton, they're coming out with a new, cheaper model of that. That's not as cumbersome as the old ones. And then there was a lot more of the little waiter type, like the little robots that bring out food trays.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you're a waitress or a server, you better start really looking for something else fast.
or just being the best damn waiter or waitress you possibly ever could be at that one place owned by somebody who feels the same way about robots that we do. And is like, you know what? Nah, humans are going to be a novelty in 5 years in the service industry. I'm going to stick in a niche lane. Screw it.
Yeah, you're gonna have people like, hey, let's go to that one restaurant, Billy's. Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
the
they got
only
real
restaurant in
waiters
town.
there.
They got real waiters.
Yeah.
They even got a guy who comes out on roller skates too.
Yeah, we'll take the kids. It'll be like a field trip.
Exactly. It's like this one place in KC. Every time I go back home, I always go to this place called Fritz. They bring out the food by like little train. So like a train, like it's like riding around the top because Kansas City's a train city.
Oh yeah.
And then it puts it on like this little basket and it comes down to the table. And like you have like a little phone, you make the phone call to the kitchen side. So it's a place where it never had really waitresses for the most part. Well, they bring out your drinks. That's right.
Okay.
They bring out your drinks, coffee, stuff like that. But the train brings out all your food. And I mean, I wonder like what's going to happen? Are those little places still going to keep the little trains, or are they going to come out with a bullet train now?
We have determined that your food service is inefficient.
Well, and then I was telling let's see, yeah, I'm not gonna say Chris's profession out. I mean, I don't know. He's not here, so I'll let him decide if he wants people to know. He just works in the legal field. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And so they were showing a robot which is literally doing his exact job. And they had like somebody who does his job and the robot, and they're trying to
John Henry the shit.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what you guys do out there at a certain point. It doesn't matter if you're a truck driver. It doesn't matter. Like when I first got out here, I think me and you did talk about this, maybe like 4 years ago. The first long distance trucker, when it left from Jacksonville all the way out to San Diego Pier, it was the first automated one across the states.
Yep.
And that was 4 years ago. And I tell people, they're like, oh, well, we don't have to worry about that. Honestly, there's only one reason why most of this stuff hasn't happened. Only one reason. Well, in my opinion, only one reason. And I don't know, let me know if you agree with this, if there's some truth to it. I think the reason why is right now, the cell towers and the signals and stuff isn't entirely where they want it to be. And when they have the full rollout of 5G or 6G or whatever else is coming, when they get to that point, when they feel comfortable enough with, hey, we don't care if it's a storm, monsoon, whatever, it's going to stay up continuously and not break down, or at least stay up like 95% of the time. At that point, they're switching everything.
So, well, there's legitimate inefficiency problems with a fully automated supply chain right now, especially where trucking and trains are concerned, mostly in you're only getting 350 miles a charge out of a commercial charging station that takes 8 hours to charge, that costs just to charge a car. The car's getting it's costing the car like 44 cents a mile, which is significantly more than a standard F-350 pulling a horse trailer. As far as a long haul truck goes, they haven't been able to make an efficient battery that gets more than 500-600 miles. They say they can get them to go up to like 750, even 1,000 miles, but they haven't been able to make a chassis that can hold the battery and the housing for it to where that's cost efficient because they had to constantly keep switching out tires and shit like that. So the tech hasn't caught up yet. The ability to store the freaking the charge in something that's housed that's like lightweight, it's not really there yet. The other problem is it's all a freaking scam, and people are starting to figure it out. People are starting to see all of the pictures of somebody's electric car that ran out of a charge that's getting it charged from a diesel powered generator or a gas powered generator that itself, you know, the electricity to produce that was generated off of coal. And like
true.
You know, so they're starting to put that all together too. So therein lies the depopulation part of it, because it's not going to matter as much if you have some constraints on the supply chain or a limited amount of stuff you can feasibly get from point A to point B in any given point, because you only have X amount of trucks that can do it before something spoils or something, you know, void, whatever. So unless you've got a smaller customer base in general, it's not going to make sense to have a fully automated shipping industry, trucking industry, or unless you've got a combination of a lower population and a little bit more efficient ways to house and store the energy that you're doing, because all of green energy runs on energy that's already been made, pushed through something, and then stored. There's no green energy that is a direct source of energy that in the same way that like a coal fire, you know,
coal-fired plant is
a power plant produces direct energy.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. I think
except for nuclear, but true. You know, we can't talk about that.
Yeah, I don't know if they're really ready for that. Well, and I agree with you, but at the same time, I do believe that we've come to that point within this empire where we got the generation now that's so arrogant and so foolhardy that they'll push forward with stuff, even though their R&D department's like, hey, well, we got this working on the micro scene, but when we extrapolate this out to, you know, the macro, this is where we're running into the problem. So yes, can we get one truck to go all the way across? Yeah, sure. If and let me clarify. It wasn't like just straight. It was multiple stops that they had to do with upboot for the computer and updates, and then they had to do charging also. And you got to remember, this is charging stations they already have prescribed and set along this route already ahead of time. Just kind of like if you work in retail, they come out with these different plans at the corporate store. When you walk into the corporate store, it's like wide open. It's perfect amount of registers. And you got every register stocked with people. You got a gazillion people out there to grab all the baskets and everything. So everything runs smoothly. When you get in an actual store, you don't have the same amount of employees working. You don't have the same amount of people on the registers. And so now the lines are getting long and all these different things are going on. And I think, yeah, when you test it in this perfect environment, which you formulated, that's one thing. When you get out into the real world and you're going to have like some of these people using this where, hey, I only got enough for one truck and one charging station, or two trucks and one charging station. Now one truck is getting out, one truck's not. Then it breaks down before you can get to the next charging station. I don't think like all those gazillion things are going to be thought about, but I still think that they're going to try to push it out like that.
Well, to agree, they have been thought about because they're trying to phase out the independent owner operator.
Yeah,
and they're trying to phase out the like the smaller trucking companies, and they just want, you know, 1-2 massive nationwide trucking companies, and that's it. And they will have some sort of like, you know, ESG score that has to be met and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
crap. And I mean, they are losing a little bit on the ESG, and people started to sniff that out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But the answer is always we're going to make it so that there can be 3 monopolies instead of this one monopoly. So
Uh-huh.
we'll ease regulation to the point to where the next biggest guys can slip in and absorb the rest of the competition. And then you'll have a couple mega corporations duking out for corporate supremacy over based on the friendly relationships that they have with the state. And you still virtually eliminated all competition in a quote unquote free market.
Yeah, that's just like I honestly like you. I know you remember Demolition Man, right? You remember how like the only restaurant they had was Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
I really see us getting to a point like if Walmart continues on the trajectory that they're going, at some point everything could end up being Walmart. Like, like
The
they've
stuff
already,
that isn't Amazon, yeah.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Well, and then that's when it's gonna have like. Remember, they were like, she was reading through the history, like, yeah, and then in 2050, that's when they had the whatever wars, and Taco Bell won out, and it's gonna be like Walmart and eventually Walmart's gonna what is it cannibalize all the what is it the box stores,
Okay.
and then eventually Amazon is going to cannibalize Walmart, and then it turns into one, and because you already know about the Amazon stores, right?
Yeah.
I,
Did you
I,
see where Amazon is trying to get a patent for mRNA cancer medication?
no, I did not.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow, that is oh man. Like, and I
Yeah,
tell
this is
people this, all the stuff that, because this is what most of the people I feel like, whether they're right, left, anarchists, communists, whatever you want to call yourself, anybody who's kind of talking in the circles we do, I think that they don't have the mentality of these people are literal like Bond villains, and they think like Bond villains. Like,
yeah.
and it's so everybody's like, "Ah, well, if I was them, I would never, but you're not them. You, you haven't been raised to be as twisted as these people are. And so you're not going to factor this in and just say, hey, to everybody out there. I see Kelly, signs, Ali says hello, says, let's see, what does this say? I also think they're trying to perfect the mapping structure, hence why they're so focused on making even small towns into smart cities. They just haven't gotten to scale yet. Exactly. That's what I was talking about, the micro and the macro.
Well,
Yeah.
the very first smart city in existence, the first operational one that was boasting about it when I got to be a refugee back in 2019 or 2020 during the wildfires, 2020, in California is Cupertino, where Apple is headquartered. And yeah,
Mhm.
technically it's part of the Bay Area, but it is in its own independent little city out, that wasn't absorbed into San Jose proper. Like it counts as a suburb, but it is a fully operational smart city and has been since I think like 2018 or something. So they had to pilot it on a much smaller level. You can't just start with New York or Chicago or Denver as your test smart city. There's going to be shit you got to work out. So you have to start it at like a smaller or mid-sized town, and it's perfect when it's already full of tech bros
Yeah.
who are helping to write the shit in the first place. They're the smart ones would be like, no, dude, I'll bike in. Got you.
Yeah.
No, I don't want a company car. No, it's cool. Don't want a company car. I'll take a bike. We got a bike. Looks good, you know. But no, dude, don't need a phone. Don't need a phone either. No, email. I got email. We're good. Yeah. Like, those are the smart tech execs. Um, and tech employees. But no, dude, I mean, no, it's exactly right. And the smart city programs are slowly getting implemented. We have Polly on. I think you have too to talk about the infrastructure bill that got like chunks of Build Back Better thrown into it, and the whole thing just sort of got broken up, and parts of the surveillance tech got thrown into here, parts of like the smart city and smart school shit, and just whole fourth industrial revolution QR code enslavement programs got stuck into other bits and pieces, or over pushed over to the WHO for a all nation state constitution suspending unification treaty.
Well, that's what we were talking about not that long ago back with Jack and Jack Sith and Shadowban, because they like to go through a lot of that go through reading line for line on that, and I like to reach out to those people who have the, I guess, patience to continuously go through these fucking long ass bills, but they went through it, and that's one of the things that they were saying, that a lot of the like surveillance stuff, and I mean it basically was a reminder to, in the Build Back Better, almost like the what was that they came out right after 9/11,
Patriot Act.
It's almost like, to me, it sounds almost like an extension, and updated models of a lot of the Patriot Act stuff.
It really is, especially with all of the things that they gave to the NSA. And then the Patriot Act, of course, was the Omnibus Counterterrorism Act of 1995, which was co-authored, largely authored by none other than Joseph R. Biden.
Exactly. And a lot of people forget what happened for that 95 Omnibus bill in the first place. That was the first, what was it, Twin Towers attack with the van that was parked in the basement.
Well, it was a response to that, but people weren't ready to go for it in 92 when the first one happened, or 93 when the first one happened. And then in the interspersing years, you had Oklahoma City and Waco.
Yeah, Oklahoma City and Waco. Yeah, that's
And
exactly what I was thinking.
When OKC happened, they were like, boom, ready with, oh, well, here's a counterterrorism bill that we were just working on. Yeah.
And then, I mean, I didn't connect all that stuff back at that time, but the more and more I look back at the stuff, I see it. Sign says, I feel like most resort try to trap you there as much as possible and dissuade you from leaving by trying to offer more services, just like everyday monopolies. Well,
oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Well, that's the reason why, like, when you go on vacations, a lot of places, they try to get you in for these damn timeshares and walk you in the building. It's the same kind of thing, Or
they put you,
we got you here.
They put you in your own bungalow, but it's on like a 700-acre compound, and they call it like the villas or some shit like that. And it's basically like a miniature resort town that's owned by the resort itself. And that's really all you get. And then you might take a Jeep that's owned by the resort to go to some other part of the place that you're at, to go do some walking tour that's also put on by the resort, but there's no other experience outside of that corporate prepackaged experience. And here in Vegas, dude, they barely want you to leave the same. They don't want you to go from like shop to shop without having to walk between a casino. You know what I mean?
Definitely not leave the strip.
Within the same casino, all of the casinos are their own self-contained cities in there, man.
Yeah.
And then there's Fremont Street, where they have the Fremont Street experience, where they blacked out the sky. They've got an LED display that goes for like 4 blocks, and you have no concept of whether or not it's, unless you walk past the casinos to the next block. It is completely domed over with just this, LED.
I haven't been to Las Vegas in many years, and
I
like
hadn't.
that reminds me of what is it? Caesar's Palace. When you're
I
inside
was gonna
Caesar's
say
Palace,
Shanghai, but yeah,
well, but yeah, in that part of Caesar's Palace, you can't tell if it's daytime or nighttime because of the way the ceiling. It looks like it's wide open, but like I think at daytime they make it night, and at night they make it day. And
yeah,
so they've literally taken like 4 blocks and did that with it. God,
yeah.
that's scary.
Yeah, all in like the old end, the north part of the strip, where like dirty Vegas still kind of is. It's all just they're like, yeah, fuck it, you losers don't even get to see what time of day it is at all. At all, you wouldn't be here if you weren't a degenerate. So get lost, literally. Well,
Oh, wow. Well, while you're bringing that up, have you how much have you read or looked into the line?
the what, huh?
The line and what is it? Saudi Arabia, I believe, where MBS is trying to come up with this new city. And
Oh, the one
in
that they
fact,
dedicated, like, that's a
I'll
50-year
try to pull
project.
it. Yeah, I'll try to pull it up. So, because I'm pretty sure most people in the audience are like, "What are you talking about? The line? What is that?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It's
like
pretty
modeled
wild.
after the ancient city of like Nome or something like that.
It's
And
wild.
it's just this walled fortress in the middle of nowhere. And there,
Yeah,
well, no, it's not, it's coastal, but I'm saying, but like there, yeah, it's crazy, dude.
I was like,
Crazy.
they're really trying to do this, like,
It's my
because I had
legacy.
a friend because he knows that like I kind of more follow this stuff than he does. He's like,
Uh-huh.
what is the deal with this line thing? I was like, como se what? I don't know what you're talking about at all. This line. Um,
Yeah, so he basically, like, it's a legacy project for MBS and his progeny. And yeah, let's go ahead and do this. This will be
all
fun.
right.
In January,
Maybe not all
year,
15,
the
but you'll
Saudi
get the
Arabian
basic
crown
idea.
prince announced an immense new development project that is supposed to set a blueprint for the future of his country and the world.
اليوم بصفتي رئيس مجلس إدارة نيوم نقدم لكم The Line.
He announced that the kingdom will build a city that stretches along a single 100-mile long line.
Killing me is super loud.
The linear city is part of a larger development project planned by the Saudi Arabian government. The economy of Saudi Arabia is heavily dependent on the oil industry, which historically has ensured growth and led to the country now being the 18th largest economy in the world by gross domestic product. Saudi Arabia has the second largest oil reserves on the planet. While the oil industry is the strength of the country, it has also been recognized that there is a risk in this dependency. Therefore, the government is trying to diversify the economy. As part of the Saudi Vision 2030 initiative, the country is investing primarily in large infrastructure projects, education,
I was waiting for that.
scientific
I was
research,
waiting.
the healthcare.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. We don't want to be too dependent on the economy or on just the oil. So we're going to use the oil to create and be the backbone of, and ostensibly what the currency would be tied to create all of these satellite industries. What happens when the price of that oil or the need for it on the global stage goes the other direction? What happens when the US is like, you know what? Fuck it. We got oil too.
Yeah, I mean,
With-
stop playing the let's try to force them all to run out of oil game.
Because the U.S. is sitting on oil reserves too, and then aside from that, the oil, according to all of the science, is not a fossil fuel. The fossil fuel thing, according to all of the science, is bullshit. Oil may, in fact, be way more renewable than previously thought. But to come out and say that is so wild and out of the scope of the propaganda, even though all of the world governments and the UN have admitted it, even though all of the actual earth scientists have fucking been well,
But you know that stuff, it all gets shoved up under the ground when they come out and say that. I mean, it's just like with Syria, they admitted, yeah, we might have said a bunch of bullshit and got this lady to get on the stand and lie, and yeah, but let's just shove that report underground and nobody talks about it anymore.
so now it's so far removed from we've got to get off of fossil fuels to this is a climate catastrophe that can only be reversed if we give all of the money and power to the same people who are responsible or who we blamed for destroying it in the first place. We've gotten so far away from polluting and poisoning the planet, which are very real things that occur with the help of governments worldwide and greedy fucking corporate bastards.
I'd say mainly on the part of governments.
We've got these very real things that are being misconstrued as there's a green solution to these problems, and it's let's give a shell company that's owned by British Petroleum or a shell company that's owned by, BlackRock, all of the money because they want to sell us a green solution that Congress is pre-approved.
Well, and that's the thing. Most of these green solutions are all still using so-called fossil fuels.
Yeah, or they're going and invading a different country for a different natural resource or two, and they're drawing up the plans to invade different countries in the next couple of years because we're going to need the rare earth minerals. There's a provision. There's a whole section in the 2020 NDAA that was written in 2019, but it became the 2020 NDAA, the one that the last one Trump signed, that lines out the war for rare earth minerals going forward.
So we definitely should expect to see more war on the African continent and very possibly South America also.
South America, Kazakhstan, North Korea. North Korea is sitting on the largest deposits of rare earth minerals.
Well, and that's why it's funny. Like they make
North Korea is huge, dude. People
they make Kim look like he's just crazy.
Yeah,
that he's just bitching for no reason.
No,
he's building up nukes for no reason at all.
North Korea is sitting on some of the largest deposits of not just rare earth minerals, but a bunch of other really important minerals for the fourth industrial revolution or the blockchain age or whatever you want to call it. A lot of those live in North Korea. And North Korea is either going to have to pop up with a brand new plan for all kinds of new mining and infrastructure as they become the next BRICS nation. Watch it, or they're going to have to make some really quick deals with Russian and Chinese mining companies so that they can throw that money into their military because the West would be coming at that point.
That's what I honestly expect to see happen. I say more than likely expect for them to bury the hatchet on some of these things with China, and that they start making a deal with China, because you already got China who it's like, I don't know if people will understand, like, watching this whole chess moves that are going on, because this is there Illuminati elite above this? Yes, but the stuff that's going on, it's just, these things can both coexist at the same time. That these nations are against each other and there's actual stuff going on. So I wanted to like throw in, like, this is what's going on with the whole Taiwan thing also. Why it's such a big deal for them, because a lot of semiconductors are coming out of Taiwan. And all that's going to be needed for all this blockchain stuff too.
So 63% of all of the silicon chips in the world come from 2 factories in Taiwan. Not counting the chip factories in China. Sorry, there's 62% of all of the chips that the West gets come from 2 spots in Taiwan. 2 factories alone, not like 2 general areas where there are many different companies, but 2 companies. It's been there, a bunch of talk in Congress right now about the CHIPS Act, because they're trying to get facilities built on the quick, because they're damn well going to have to, because they're gaming out a war over there. Mm-hmm. They're not going to interrupt the war. Are you kidding me? So they're trying to do the dumbest thing possible, which is rush the production of a semiconductor plant so that you can make silicon chips. They're trying to rush the production of that. Takes 7 to 10 years. They're talking about, we're going to get it done in 5. You can't. What's
dropping over there?
Oh, it's just a lighter hitting a bowl. It's reminding me that it was empty. I'm going to have to fix that. I am. But
what is that?
I'm not even sure what the inspector. Am I being detained? But no. So we're in a race now. We're in a race to build semiconductor plants. We're in a race to produce silicon chips. And when we're in a race with our own consumption, this is why you finally saw a little bit of relaxation on the right to repair laws for all of the heavy equipment owners and operators and farmers and shit like that, who have forever had to take their heavy equipment to the dealership, because only the dealership had proprietary rights to work on it. And there was lots of times that you had to call in and get a chip replaced, blah, 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 blah. So they finally were like, okay, there's plenty of stuff that you guys can now fix, and it will maybe save you from having to bring it in for some chip stuff. We're going to aftermarket a bunch of these things, and you can do it for yourself. That's because they knew that we were about to get into a situation, and we did, or at least according to the papers, have a very significant silicon chip shortage last year. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I remember that.
But yeah, to what degree that was bullshit, I don't really know. But I know that all of this is being generated over an upcoming conflict with Taiwan. I do know that the vast majority of our chips come from Taiwan. I know that we're in an absolute race with our own consumption to produce them domestically, or at least closer, maybe out of our drop zone. That seems to be the priority, moving production away from our own personal drop zone. So if you want my advice, if you're looking to move to where they're going to be working on some part of a semiconductor facility, or making components that are going to a semiconductor facility, because that's going to be the last place the U.S. is going to drone itself. Okay? They're going to start where I want to live.
Where's that?
Outside of a smart city.
Well, I think more than likely that would probably be one of the islands.
You can't know, dude. Don't put me on an island. Fuck no. No. Fuck no.
But I think that would be where they would do it because I don't know. Well, there's a lot of politicians which might want it in their district. So I mean, I can't rule it out being West Virginia or something like that.
The first couple of facilities they have mapped out are in Texas, and I think one in Iowa. And then go look at whoever's getting called like a greedy bastard over the pork that they're trying to get out of the CHIPS Act, and that's where the plants are going. Like whoever's being called like the biggest scumbag or the biggest cheerleader for it or whatever, that's where the plants are going.
Ali has something here. I'm wondering your thoughts on this comment. It says, I saw that they were making semiconductor chips with carbon now too. Also, there's weird shit with melanin and semiconductor chips. Do you know anything about either of those?
Not the melanin specifically. That's a new one to me. But yeah, they have to make them. Well, I don't know if it's carbon or carbon fiber.
Maybe carbon fiber.
But I know that they're trying to make the manufacturing process quicker, and they were trying to use like a couple of different base polymers and shit like that. So because
carbon fiber is a polymer, so I mean,
but I don't know a damn thing about the melanin. Were they like harvesting black people and turning them into silicon chips? That'd be really.
I put it this. I
really soylent green shit.
I only heard this from one.
Is that where the missing and murdered indigenous women are going? Like to the chip factory? Because I would honestly buy that in the arc of the cartoon at this point. I really like. You could sell me on that. You could. Like it's been that fucked up. It really has.
It's possible. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've only heard one person talking about the melanin thing as far as being used for stuff like this. I've definitely heard stuff about, kind of more in the Q kind of stuff, well, Q type stuff about them harvesting melanin and harvesting all kind of other stuff, from human beings. And but
I guarantee you, if any of us hopped a plane right now and went to Taiwan, we would not see a lot of black people.
Yeah, that would be accurate.
And then you could go dun dun dun. That would be really fucked up. I don't know, dude. I don't put anything past these fucking psychos. I really don't. I don't either. Like I was trying to I'll bring this up because this was going on in the chat last night. I had somebody, and I'm not gonna say his name because I'm not gonna try to embarrass him or anything, but he's in the belief that like the Roman Catholic Church has some kind of sway over China, and that they're gonna make China. It's hard to even follow it because I'm like, that doesn't, like, okay, if this was still the 1700s, I could probably buy that argument. 1800s maybe even, but the China of 2022 is not the same China. It even wasn't like 1985. But there are still the 8 immortal families, Marcus.
Well, I do believe in the families, but one thing that I've tried to explain to people is the families work like a kingdom. A king doesn't rule by, let's get a vote on everybody and what everybody thinks. The king is like running things. And he might have a couple of the bloodlines or families that he's kind of cool with and trusts their opinion, and he gets counsel from them. But the rest are, in a sense, just reaping the benefits of being on top to a level, but they don't really have full autonomy on what's going on. I mean, especially when we go into how many different members of the bloodlines which they've taken out. I mean, they took out the Romanovs. They took out members of the Astor family, members of the Vanderbilts. So they're not beyond taking out their own if they get in the way of what they want done. So I mean, and some of them will literally decide, you know what? I'll take my own people and use them as a sacrifice just to get something that I want. I don't care about those people.
So to that point, then, who's not to say that in the 17 to 1800s there wasn't a Jesuit capture of the Chinese immortal families?
Well, I believe that they are. See, this is where I come down.
And there is a Rockefeller connection to Mao.
Yeah, I agree. There is, but how I see it is,
I was just fucking with you, by the way.
I know. you know how mob movies work, right? Of course, you're living in literally a mob town. You have the man who's at the top, who's running things. What is everybody up under him thinking? The moment I get a chance,
I'm gonna take
exactly.
this guy out.
Exactly. So none of them are just sitting there like, yeah, I just want to play sick and fiddle for the rest of my life forever. All of them want to take over and be the king. I mean, that's just a reality. And so to think that they're all just perfectly fine with sitting there being, in the substandard, it's just, like I told people, I said, because I've had people go back and forth with me and say, well, China, they need the U.S. and they need the West. No, they don't really need them. if the U.S. is no longer in the picture and the West is no longer in the picture, then you already know that they manipulate their own currency. You don't think they could re-manipulate their currency and get a new market? They wouldn't, because they would be the controller of finance and everything at that point. And then they could make their own rules, literally.
Well, I mean, there's a controlled collapse of the global economy going on right now.
Well, I think it's a change. I think it's transition to the blockchain.
For sure. Yeah.
It's a collapse of the fiat currency.
Yeah. So they're gonna MMT their way through the next, through the entire collapse.
That's what that whole Yang and UBI stuff is about.
Dude. Okay, man. I hate that. But we had Kim on and we asked her, because Kim Iverson is on the board of that Forward Party thing. And so is Christine Todd Whitman and a bunch of other weirdos and Andrew Yang. And she's explaining it to me and Pasta. And she's like, well, people are mad at Andrew Yang. He's even a candidate or something. He's just the guy who started the thing and blah, 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 blah. And she's explaining what it is. And that, there's going to be ballot access, and there's already ballot access in 30 states, and we're going to get it all in 50. And Pasta gets this incredulous look on his face. And she goes, because the whole point of the Forward Party is to kind of grab, these parties that are smaller and have ballot access, but can't really get it going. Just kind of, put our weight behind them to it. I go, oh, it's a hedge fund. And she blinked and gulped and then danced around it and kept going with the Forward Party thing. And I'm like, it's a fucking hedge fund.
Wow. Well, I mean, I started wondering, does she believe this kind of stuff?
I think
truly
so.
Believe it?
I really do. There's some people that I'm totally willing to be that person's full of shit, and here's why. And I've gotten in trouble for it. You know that.
I know you have. Yeah.
But
it's hard for me to believe. It shouldn't be hard for me to believe, because on some issues she's amazing.
I don't think.
Wow, it's not clicking for her.
I don't think it. I think that there's only so much that she's willing to entertain at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that there's only like so far that she's willing to entertain some things at once. And I know for a fact that like she's basically a like one issue focus person. Like if there's something that she's really interested in, then she'll go after that, and she'll kind of like find all the way down the line. But the scope of source material is still evolving. The scope of thinking is still evolving, and this is someone who has gone through some very significant evolution of thought just in the last few years, along with a whole lot of other people. I don't think she's a disingenuous actor or a disingenuous person.
I don't think
I
she
think
is
she's
either.
somebody who's got a lot to learn yet, and I think that like everybody else at that level, there's still institutional roadblocks from previous occupation that cloud or prevent exploration of certain avenues of thinking, and that is slowly unraveling in light of just how freaking crazy even the just below the surface level stuff is on, for example, Fauci. You know
I
what I mean?
just
As long as we're talking about Kim and her, like she left the hill for over Fauci, and good on her for it. You know,
yeah,
but like,
and that's what I say. Anything having to do with COVID, she's amazing on that. But outside of COVID,
oh, she's on some bullshit, dude. And I like
yeah,
we've you know we
that's
said
what
it,
I'm
dude.
saying. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, but that's all
wow,
right
you're
because
literally clueless.
I've seen evolution of thought, so I know it can happen. So I don't worry as much, you know,
Well,
because I don't.
you literally saw it with me.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I
I've
mean,
seen it with a
so
lot of people, dude. I said the fucking combo couch, dude.
yeah,
Are you kidding me? You
because I
know,
was in a different. I was watching Combo Couch, and I've watched them come along in various different ways. Yeah,
bro,
you were right.
Pasta's
The
mom is
Rockman
black
is
pilled.
crazy.
You guys saw that clip, right?
I saw
Where
that. That was
Pasta's
great.
mom rose up out the ground like a Terminator and was like, "I want her to go to Taiwan. I'll just shoot him down." You're like, "Whoa, Pasta's mom, that's hectic."
I was like, that's something I would say.
Just like, here's your coffee.
And I'm like, I had to be
here's some
careful
black pills
because-
with your coffee. All right.
And I mean that was so sweet of her to try to creep in like that. And
It's
not be on
hilarious,
the
dude.
cam, and it's
Hilarious.
like,
Her son does not have that sort of that same mindset, bro. Last
Yeah.
week on Slow News Day, because my kids are here, he was like, "I'm gonna make these dudes pancakes," and then he was like, "I'm gonna show the Slow News Day audience that I know how to make pancakes." And he just came like barging in, like tried to wave a plate in front of the camera, drip syrup on the freaking laptop, shit like that. Yeah, dude. Yeah. He didn't get that from his mom. Did not get that behavior from his
you
mom.
believe that I finally just got the rock thing going.
Oh yeah, I was looking for it. I was.
Jeez, it just popped up. So I guess they're gonna miss half the show, but
All
it's
right.
all good. There will definitely be more shows with me. But let's play some more of this crazy ass video.
Yeah, sure.
I figure we'll go maybe about three minutes into it and see what interesting stuff pops out.
I'll try to hold off. We'll get like 3 seconds in.
Is
What
it
the?
live? Yeah, let's see. I thought I saw it live on there.
Care system, and the tourism sector. The goal is to pave the way for new industries, in which the focus is primarily on future technologies such as renewable power. And this is a development that can be seen across the Arabian Peninsula, with nations starting ambitious future programs. Even if these initiatives differ from one another in terms of scope and objectives, What they have in common is that they include structural investments that are designed to expand the regional economy to new areas. The Vision 2030 initiative of Saudi Arabia was announced in April 2016. The project is pushed forward by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the son of the Saudi ruler, King Salman. Despite officially being Crown Prince and Minister of Defense, bin Salman is already regarded as the de facto leader of the country. The Line City is part of perhaps the biggest project of this bigger campaign initiated by bin Salman, NEOM. NEOM is being built in the Tabuk province of Saudi Arabia. Here, the government has set up a zone for the new city. The area is located on the Gulf of Aqaba and the Red Sea, with the...
Oh yeah, and I wanted to. I see Atris is in there. He said, "Saudi money goes hard." It's always funny how they let you know how much money all these princes in the Middle East have. Oh, this person's worth 1.4 trillion. That person's worth 1.4 trillion. But for some reason, I guess the West has no trillionaires at all.
Except for Elon Musk.
Oh, he's not even a trillionaire, remember?
Oh, he just lost some.
Yeah,
he was.
He's almost, yeah, he was right there and just tipped over the trillion mark and then dropped back down.
There's a number of like bloodline royalty that they never include in these wealth stats that are all trillionaires that have freaking ridiculous amounts of property and like money tied up in all sorts of world markets that are, you know, above board, middle ground, and then way underground.
Way underground. Like I asked people, I said, if you had $10 million, like your family had $10 million in, let's say the 1600s, you guys had $10 million. If you did not make any more money, how much money would you have just on accrued interest alone being passed down? That alone would probably put you at $1 trillion. And these families literally have more than that. I mean, like one of them, economists will admit that a certain family literally had half of the world's wealth. How do you have half the world's wealth, but now you just somehow a couple of bad, things have happened and you just don't really got it like that no more.
They, I mean, they did basically lose most of Africa in a poker game.
But you still got all the money accrued, though.
I mean, that's fair. No, I think you're right. It is really weird to me that
and you still own Federal Reserve banks and IMFs and stuff like that.
Well, and like none of the original Dutch East India cartel is ever included in any of that shit. And the amount of like precious mineral mines that crew still owns to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Are they just not counting that shit?
No, they're literally not counting it.
They have to only make it look like it's a hand. Is it going to have to shift to when we finally do what Kissinger says, that it's dangerous to be America's enemy, but it's fatal to be her ally?
Mm-hmm.
When we finally turn on the kingdom, like when MBS gets the ancient city of Nome rebuilt and rededicates the I don't know, the desire to reform the caliphate. I mean, like I understand they're saying it's going to take 50 years. I understand they're saying that.
But they're already literally throwing people off their land now.
It's the oldest freaking one of the oldest civilizations on Earth. It's not like they're incapable of thinking 50 years in advance. It's the West that seems to be incapable of getting more than a couple of moves ahead in chess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Eastern philosophy versus Western philosophy. Western philosophy in this modern day and age is everything needs to be done as fast as possible. It needs to be done now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Eastern philosophy is all about patience. I mean, that's the reason why China literally has 25-year plans, which actually they're longer than that. They just execute 25 years at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, and I got kind of like one thing that I like to bring out when we're talking about China. How do the people in the country feel dealing with China? And like I've talked to plenty of friends in West Africa, some who migrated from West and East Africa into Europe, some who live in South Africa. And you know what they all say? Despite how anybody else feels about it, they say, you know what? I'd rather be dealing with China ripping me off than United States putting a gun in my face.
Yep.
I mean, it's not, and I get it. It's not a pretty world. It's not ideal. Most people would prefer their own autonomy. But if you're like 4 foot and you have 3 dudes who are all 6'5", one of these dudes needs to be your friend so that these other dudes don't gobble you up, basically.
Yeah, and you would prefer it be the dude who isn't going to immediately turn around and start beating the hell out of you once the other 2 guys are asleep.
Exactly.
You know, at that point, you would probably be like, hey, you got anything you need help with? Because I could use a job.
Yeah, exactly. You need me to do your term papers?
Right?
tutor you or something?
Right.
I know there's something that we can get.
But I need you to round up your cousins and build the factory that I'm going to install my people to run. Mm-hmm. And that's how the Belt Road is getting built.
Well, yeah, like I often wonder, like, let's say, because Uganda found that what was it like 12, 13 trillion in gold. And I say,
yeah, and they got fucked up with some floods this weekend too.
Well, the Chinese mining company came in, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, okay, say Chinese mining company doesn't come in. How long before the U.S. or Great Britain comes in there?
Oh, I give it a couple of test yields, couple of test years. See what kind of mining operation they're running. See if there's any equipment worth keeping around. Seeing if there's any processes that need to be reverse engineered, or if it makes more sense to just go in hot. But I give it a few years.
That's what I'm saying. If China wasn't involved in this process at all, or let's say no China, no Russia, no other superpower gets involved, how long would it have been before Russia? I mean, not Russia, but before the U.S., Great Britain, France would have been in those nations?
I mean, so without Chinese involvement, we'd already be there. Without Chinese involvement,
that was my point, which I was trying to bring out.
Without Chinese involvement, we would be getting TikToks from Tulsi Gabbard. Hey guys, it's gonna be a couple of weeks before I can check in with you again. I'm duty calls and I'm off to go with my National Guard brothers and sisters on a support mission to Uganda. All right, aloha. And then Uganda would get destabilized, and she would come back, and her gray streak would be in a different spot. And then she would, go on Tucker Carlson and talk about the need for a stable democracy and to keep the newly formed Islamic terror groups out of Uganda.
Oh my goodness! I mean, you have a way of putting things sometimes. Jeez. I mean, that's my same thoughts. I'm like, dude, they would be running up in that would be like looking at a bank with no security guards.
A bank that had actual working whores as security guards, where if you were like, hey, I'm on my way to rob the place, they were like, no. You gotta hit it first. But I'll tell you what, then go rob the place and then throw me some on the way out. Mm-hmm. Is that cool? Okay, but first you I mean, just company policy. We at least gotta blow you. Then you can go rob the place. Then you can.
Hank Yu says the best government is a benevolent tyranny tempered by an occasional assassination. Voltaire. Those Frenchmen. Voltaire is onto something. Well, and what I realize is we live, the people who are in power, it is an ugly world, period. None of them are necessarily the good guy in any of these scenarios. So is China going to come in to, help them? Yeah, but it's kind of like, hey, I know you got these guys who really want to come in here, steal everything, like beat your sisters up, take them into slavery, do all this kind of stuff to them. And we can stop that at a cost. That's like, I know your daughter might die of this cancer, and we can save her. But there's a fee. That's kind of what it is.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Until you can get rid of something like the state, you're going to continue to have these problems. Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, there's no way around it.
What sucks is we're knocking on the door of midterm season for real, and there's people. I mean, we were joking about Andrew Yang's bullshit hedge fund or whatever, but like, I'm sure there'll be a dozen people that are super loud about it, and it'll make like several hundred other people take time out of their day to go heckle those people, when they could be doing anything else. So as far as that waste of time goes, just sure. And he's got like $5 million to start with. I'm sure they'll get some of the disaffected people who had to watch all of their portfolios plummet under Joe Biden. I'm sure they will. Some of the ones that just won't be able to fucking vote for
But
DeSantis.
Steve, you forgot.
Or Liz Cheney.
He got Brittany Griner out. He's getting Brittany Griner.
Oh, so how's he doing?
He's getting Brittany, so he's going to get Brittany Griner back, so everything's okay now. You black people get to the polls, and gay people too.
Right.
Checked off 2 boxes.
Right. I mean,
and sports fans, 3 boxes.
Yeah.
And women over 6 foot, another box.
Of the Disney classic Joanna Man, and Tyler Perry fans. Yeah, all kinds of people could pull up and celebrate. I'm just being a dick for no reason.
People who wear braids. Get them. I mean, at this point, that's what they're doing.
Look, I'm glad that Brittany Griner is no longer incarcerated in a Russian jail. That had to suck, dude. That had to suck. It really did. And I'm not even gonna be like, well, and you shouldn't try and take your vape carts with you. You totally should. You should just be smarter about it.
Nate, we all know what that was. It was like, So we all knew that United States was doing this stuff in the West.
Well, didn't she brag about that shit on podcasts and stuff beforehand anyway?
I'm not
Wasn't there
sure.
like a whole
I don't want to
thing
say that because I
where-
don't know for a fact, but it's kind of
I'm almost positive I saw a couple of clips where she was like, "Oh no, I stay smoking wherever I go," and blah blah blah. And
so you don't think that they possibly check on you for that, right? They're not going to check your bags a little bit more than everybody else.
if you're going out of your way, look, the only thing that if Brittany Griner would have been a World Economic Forum young global leader, if she would have been the Megan Rapinoe of the WNBA, this never would have happened.
Well, technically she kind of is, but the bad part is the WNBA, as far as sports leagues, it's kind of like the NBA would be college football, and the WNBA, as far as the respect they get, would be like lacrosse.
So, did you see the Bill Burr thing about the WNBA?
No.
Oh, my friend. At any rate, Bill Burr completely like demolishes not the WNBA, but the support that the WNBA doesn't get from other women.
Yeah, that's a lot of people talking about there needs to be more support for the WNBA, but women don't even support.
80
women
to
don't support.
85% of the fans of the WNBA, all men, or they're girls that are junior high
Who
or
want to be in the
maybe
WNBA.
maybe high school athletes, maybe. But as far as like all these women sports fans who actually do show up to NBA games and do show up to baseball games, especially baseball games, but NFL games, just no sisterhood of WNBA support.
Well, and it's the same thing if you think back to when Hillary lost. Hillary's first thing they went out was like, yo, you black people, y'all didn't do enough, even though you voted at like 92% for me and you voted at 94% for Barack. You should have voted harder for me than you even voted for Barack. But it was no like, women, what's the deal here? Because a lot of women did not vote for her. Like, I think like her numbers were bad with the women.
They're still blaming Susan Sarandon. So, I mean, like a couple women did get blamed. The women that they called Bernie Bros got blamed too.
Well, most of the women Susan that got blamed still were either they were like Susan Sarandon,
I think
they were melanated women.
Yeah, they blamed Bree Joy Gray.
Yeah,
they did. Bernie threw her under the bus like real quick. That was pretty brutal. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Oh
that
yeah,
look,
I give her. She has a lot of grace. She doesn't even like really push back on him at all that much.
Why would you if you come from that like intercept and Jacobin circle of lefty like narrative management outlets?
Yeah, I mean, I guess
would you really push back that much? Then you don't. Yeah.
That's that like I was about to bring up Jeff Weaver and Sirota. They're in that same bubble. Well, Jeff Weaver is the sabotager. He's the one who literally, well, actually,
what's his name? Matt Duss. Matt Duss.
Matt Dice.
Duss. I think it's Duss. But he's from the Center for American Progress. I mean, the whole thing was a money laundering operation. It was a money laundering operation in 2016. Chris Hedges told everybody about it in 2015, and everybody didn't read it because.
Well, yeah, I'll admit I was one of those.
Jimmy Dore hadn't made him re-famous again, so people didn't know who Chris Hedges was until it was like months or a year or two after he had written the article, telling everybody exactly who Bernie was and what he was going to do with their time, resources, and money. and people still gave him all of their time, resources, and money, and their energy, and their hopes, and their dreams, and some of them their fucking house payments and shit. There were people that wound up homeless over that, and then a lot of them did it again, and some of them might even do it a third time. They might.
Glory is in the building. Glory
Jones.
Glory says, thing everyone missed about the Brittany Griner thing is Russia just doesn't blatantly hate black people. I'm laughing my ass off. Brittany and other WNBA players are incredibly popular in Russia. In fact, they don't only love WNBA players and women. Roy Jones Jr. is a dual citizen to Russia. They have a lot of love for him also. And
heck yeah.
And I mean, they like sports, in general. I just think it was an opportunity. We know that this stuff is about to start brewing up with the U.S. Let's hold a little coin off to the side. We don't really plan on indicting her or doing anything, but they got something we want. We got something that they're gonna want. That's how I see it. I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong. It's just my opinion. But I honestly felt like, we want to get one of our guys back. This is leverage. And for all we know, that they could have put him in under dodgy circumstances also.
I hate to see anybody be used as a political bargaining chip, especially when something like jail is what's being leveraged, like, period. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hate it, you hate it, but we know how these elites do business. This is just, it's shitty, but this is how they do things, though. And if you're willing, if you have the mentality that you'll send a whole platoon of your own people in and know that they're all pretty much going to get massacred just so you can get another platoon into another area, calculations like this are nothing, and you don't think a second thing about it. You feel no guilt, no remorse about this kind of stuff. That's just how I see it. These people thinking, kind of zero sum. The end result is better than the steps it took to get there. We might be a little bit more lean closer to the idealist, but no, they're just straight Machiavellian in this, how they handle everything.
Yeah, and they're eugenicist death cult members.
Oh yeah, that part too.
They're all just like weird, creepy Malthusian fucking wingnuts. And
you gotta kind of be a little off in the first place to even get to, the point of doing that stuff. And
you gotta be a crafty bastard to convince the world that the software you either stole or bought is yours, and that you're some kind of computer genius, and that then because you quit being a computer genius, you are somehow now a scientist because you give money to people who make pharmaceutical products. And Bill Gates did that. Bill Gates did that shit. Like, convince Fauci, who hasn't touched a patient in 50, 70 years, is the most smartest, most reliable, highest paid government official on the planet.
Yeah. He's also one of the biggest pharmaceutical agents there are, too.
He's been a bureaucrat for a solid 45 years. At that point, you're not a doctor.
No.
You're not. You're just not. That's an honorific. And anybody who was like, that guy belongs on a Saint candle, which is a thing.
Oh, I know.
Well, so
it was like at the same time with the homosexuals too.
They pushed that they made merch for that. The Zeg Cuomo, knowing that at any moment he could be thrown under the bus for being a sex pest. They went ahead and made that merch and pushed it. Are you kidding? That's the level of sociopathy and narcissism and hubris that they're low level dealing with. That's just low energy shit. The high energy shit, that gets creepy. That's like, oh yeah, no, we've got to sacrifice 16,000 elderly New Yorkers in nursing homes because, you know, it's harvest season.
Yeah, and even though we just sacrificed these 16,000, nobody get upset. Only get upset when you hear that he grabbed a couple women's asses. That's going to be your line that you cross. Not the fact that he might have killed a bunch of people's grandmothers and grandparents. Let's focus on the sex part.
Throws his entire nationality under the bus. Half of you are going to chuckle. Turns out he was Fredo. Turns out he was the whole time. The whole time. It wasn't Chris.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was Andy.
Mm-hmm.
He really was Fredo.
Yeah, he got taken out, you know, on the boat.
Dude, I had a joke this morning. I don't even know how it came up or why we started talking about it.
Wow.
It was, Jesse Jet.
You see this comment?
Yeah. And he tried to do it in India too. And they keep trying to come back to Africa, and then he's gonna turn around and freaking go and like throw a bunch more money at the WHO and throw a bunch more money at a bunch of different press organizations, try and like soft pedal what really is going on with the with the amendments to that treaty. They're trying to make it something else so that they don't have to have as many people vote on it, and it can be a smaller thing, and they could just keep what they were trying to get with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which was essentially like a corporate court and one like corporate governing body that sat above national sovereignty. They would effectively get the same thing out of a pandemic emergency response overriding situation. We're on YouTube. I shouldn't be saying any of this shit, huh? Fuck. I'm sorry.
No worries. Hey, no worries.
Bunny rabbits are really soft and really fluffy. Did you know, Marcus, that I truly am? This is a real thing. This is a real. I really love me some baby otters.
Baby otters.
Yeah,
they are funny.
Like my little moment is in as well. I'll zen out on some baby otters. I will. Some of the people in the chat know this. They do.
Goody says I'm trolling Marcus F. Gates. Well, I was just making sure because I could make you a calendar. You know, have Gates in there, have Elon Musk. You know, get the Cuomo brothers in there. Let's see, who else can we throw in there? Bloomberg. You know, just all nice and shirtless like the fireman calendars they used to make back in the day. You know,
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, throw him in there.
Yeah.
You know, all wearing Speedos and lubed up in baby oil just for you. Baby otters. Yes, Steve.
It's true. It's true.
I mean, I just like animals in general. Well, it's one animal that I don't do rats. I don't do rats. Rodents, not my thing. But yeah, give me puppies, dogs, cats, whatever.
I don't
goats.
do.
I like little funny goats jumping sideways.
So pygmy goats? You like little pygmy goats?
Yeah,
they're fucking adorable. They
crack me up.
Basically worthless, but they're cute.
Yeah. Well, for a time period.
Right. Yeah.
then they're not.
Then they're just tiny old goats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're ornery too.
Yeah. Yeah.
They get a little mean. I don't think people realize that. They do get a little mean.
The goats are assholes.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. And they're scatter shitters. Like they don't have a spot where they'll go poop. They poop everywhere all the time. They'll walk in it, through it. Same with their piss. They'll like, yeah, dude, they're gross.
I didn't know that part.
Gross. Yeah. Yeah, they don't tell you that part.
I didn't know that.
They don't. Little pellet poopers, and they'll just, I'd be like, they'll come up onto the deck and just shit right in front of the door.
Yes, I do like marmots. They're cool too.
So, We got marmot art for the morning show. And I'm gonna fuck up. Like I'm gonna misremember the last name, so I don't even want to say who it was. But Oregon Zoo has Otter Cam. Thank you, Glory Jones. Or Kelly. Okay.
Yeah, Kelly.
Rad. Yeah, no, I'm all for it. I am.
Well, I think
rather randomly stumble across them. If
Mm-hmm.
I get to the point where I'm like, oh no, I've got to take a time out to go watch baby otters, like it's already too late. So if it's just something
it's this one channel I get hooked on every now and then. They got the little otter videos. And they're always eating sushi.
I will frequently, somebody will tag me for particularly either adorable or hilarious or a combination of both. Yeah.
Wow, this is a fun little chat, impromptu, unscheduled. I was wondering, can you give everybody where they can find you? I'll let everybody know, since the rock film was acting a little funky, I'll probably go back and record like this first hour and put it on Rockfin. So anybody who's over there is like, hey, why does this seem like you guys were already talking about something and I came in on it late? It's because Rockfin was acting a little bit funny, but don't worry, I'll re-upload that first hour. But yeah, let them, give them all your plugs, where they can find you and all that.
So rockfin.com/slow news day, rockfin.com/am wake up. I am going to be bringing back memory hold episodes. I'll be premiering the one that I recorded with Marcus. I've been too freaking busy and overloaded, but I just recorded one with Marcus. It's one of those things. The cool thing about memory hold episodes is that they're not like time sensitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a segment and gotta hit this segment for the time.
I dig that. I'm gonna be starting another show with my friend Sugar here in a few weeks. Look for us to be talking about that. She'll be in the studio tomorrow morning.
Nice.
Pastas is in Florida till Tuesday. Bunch of cool people coming through for the show. Bunch of people that show up and stop in unannounced. We get drop-ins. We're encouraging that, especially when they're like Ryan Christian and Vanessa Beeley and Eva Bartlett that are the drop-ins. I'm like, hey, I was wondering if I could come on real quick. Yes, you can.
Yes, yes, come on. I still want to get sit down with Vanessa. Talks one of these times.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So
John F. O'Donnell basically every Thursday. We love our JFOD Thursdays. Really do. That guy's awesome, man. I didn't see that one coming. I really didn't. Like, he just randomly hit me up one day. It was like, hi, friend. How are you? Hey, buddy. I really like your work. He's like, okay, cool. Can we, talk? Like, yeah, dude, come on the show. And he's still hanging out, so it's cool.
Yeah, I need to reach out. Well, I got some stuff in the works that I'm working on. I need to, your best prepper friend, please hook me up with the best prepper. I need to have a show where we can just talk prep.
Okay.
I think it's time to get that, that prepper language out there. And any of you out there who are listening who would like to get in on that, go ahead and just DM me, let me know. I'll take from the largest preppers to the smallest preppers. It's no big deal. I'm working on getting a farmer on here also. So, and then next week my interview that I had earlier today will be rescheduled for next week. So Dr. Gugulethu should be on, and if anything changes, I'll of course change it. And you guys will see the change. And then I have a reporter from Fritz that's going to be coming on to talk about the Pegasus spyware stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, and if you guys didn't see it today, Jesse Jett was on Slow News Day, played a couple of
Nice.
songs to the spoken word piece. It was fantastic. Go check that out. Ryan Christian popped in for the first hour to discuss his multiple account like booting from Twitter. Again, there's just I don't know. Yeah, Twitter originally put the Off Guardian like warning, you probably shouldn't click this link on an Epoch Times interview with Eliza Blue. That successfully got removed, but it's gonna happen again. It's gonna happen again.
Of
Twitter
course. Well, what it is Twitter is actually getting worse than YouTube. I mean, with their censorship and with their, are you sure you want to click this article? Are you sure you want to send this to this person? Are you sure you want to read this? I'm like, yeah, I do. So just stop asking me.
We're gonna go ahead and give you one more opportunity to not do your own thinking.
Exactly.
Are you sure? Look, here's titties. Would titties distract you? How about sports? Here's a politician lying to you.
We can send you a couple of grams of your favorite sticky icky.
Right.
I mean, whatever to dissuade you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what's coming. I mean, it's getting funny hours out here. So, I appreciate you so much, Steve, for dropping through. Glad for everybody who came through on this impromptu. Actually, I got more people than I was expecting because I kind of just decided to do it at the last minute. And Steve, it's like, yeah, I'm cool, brother. Let's do it. And so I always appreciate Steve for doing that, coming swinging by. We had no topics in mind, but just talk about some stuff. So.
Ooh, and I managed to all day today have like 4+ hours in front of a camera and not do anything that I have for tomorrow for the morning show.
Good job.
Yeah. No repeat material. Unless you absolutely can't help it.
They always distract me. Damn tit alone. This goes back to last night. He was literally everything was a form of Illuminati last night. So
the Ilbuminati.
Good one. You're always good with the names.
Hey man, that's
always good with the names.
That's what
I don't know. If I ever decide to rename this show, I'm gonna have to come to you for a new name.
I can't for the fucking life of me figure out what we're gonna name the show that me and Sugar are gonna. Neither of us have the name hasn't dropped yet. It hasn't. We might have to put it to the audience. Put it to some.
Well, I know what the graphic. I know what the graphic could be. Like, pour some sugar on me.
That's fucking hilarious. That's hilarious. I'm not even gonna. Whatever, man. We're gonna get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're gonna take it into a crazy spot. I see Leonard just swung by. Just caught the end. Thank you, Steve and Marcus. Yeah, Leonard. Leonard's on.
Leonard's the shit, dude. Leonard's awesome.
Much love. Leonard's one of the first people I saw that hopped on to my rock fan, and it's been steady in majority of my streams, and I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who subscribes to my channel. And hey, and if you're in there, please say hi. Let me know you're in there. I'd like to have you in the conversation. Ask some questions. I am going to ask. I am going to forward your questions to my guests for the most part. Unless it's something a little too crazy, or unless the chat is moving too fast, I can't keep up with it or fit it into the discussion. Oh, thank you, Heck. One last one for Steve. In general, the art of government consists of taking as much money as possible from one class of citizens to give to another.
Sure, yeah, that's how oligarchy works. That's how that's how basically every top-down government works. But ultimately, what the state robs you for is to perpetuate the state. The reason that the only reason the state exists is because it is used a monopoly on violence to extort or rob or threaten the rest of all of us into perpetuating its existence. That's
Yep.
like that's it. And along the way, it comes in and it fucks everything up.
Mhm.
But,
Well, the
like,
thing about it is, it fucks up its own hustle.
well, because all it does is get bigger, and then once people go, hey, there's a completely useless thing here, they're so very reluctant to get rid of it because it will expose the rest of the rot in it.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's
And I see Copeland Morris got in, say, I caught the last part too, but the conversation was good to hear. Yeah, I know for the Rockfin people, you guys probably only caught about roughly about half of it. I'm going to re-upload the first part. I had some problems with getting it on. Wallace West hops in here. Wallace says, what is Steve's favorite music and what is Marcus' favorite music? What is your favorite music, Steve? Let people know.
I really do like all kinds of shit, but you could usually you could catch me like I would get caught listening to golden era hip hop. I would get caught listening to just twang banger hillbilly shit. I will get caught listening to a handful of newer cats and shit like that. Prof that I showed you the other time.
That was nice. I
Yeah.
did enjoy that.
Yeah. I do dig bluegrass. I played mostly I play stringed instruments. But yeah, dude. I try not to I'm a music nerd and kind of a snob and kind of a dick about it, and so I try to be very general when I get asked these questions because I don't want to inadvertently piss anyone off.
I guess for me, it all depends on the mood that I'm in, because I used to play alternative rock. I was a drummer in an alternative rock band. I was in marching drill teams drumming. I also played trumpet for most of my life in symphonic bands and marching bands and a little bit orchestra, and then I played jazz band like my junior and senior year. So I listen to a lot of stuff. I listen to symphony jazz, orchestra, hip hop. I listen to salsa, merengue, reggaeton, reggae. I listen to some French music also, more like French hip hop, like some Willie William. What's the other? Maitri Jeans, Anna Nakamura. So let's see, and then what's his name? Toby. I cannot pronounce it. It's like a Nigerian name. Can't pronounce it. It's like it's NW something 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 something. So he has some good stuff. And then occasionally you might hear me listening to what we call in my circles truth music. So it's like more like Hebrew Israelite music. So that's what I mostly listen to. So yeah. I think somebody asked me.
I also go down like comedy rabbit holes.
Well, yeah, I'll listen to a lot of different. Well, I listen to older comedy. I don't like a lot of the newer stuff.
There's fan-fucking-tastic new comics. I promise you.
I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared of that because with the alphabet crew, they're
take
like
my hand, young Morpheus. Take my hand, and I will lead you down the road of new and good comics.
Because I feel like they're trying to destroy comedy.
They are, and there's
I see you. What's up?
There's some really good people that are fighting back. There's some really funny people, and there's some people that aren't that the point a lot, but they're still fighting back and they're still on the side of comedy, and they should be acknowledged for doing so and celebrated for doing that. So it's not over. It's not in fact, real comedy is winning, and real comedy is going like directly to the people now. It really is, man. Like, I have seen more and better live comedy in the last year than I have in the last 10.
The last comedy I saw, well, live anyway, was I went out and saw Jimmy Dore not that long ago, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. I went and saw Jimmy. So that was cool to go out there and see him live.
Me and Pasta went to that show last month or something. He came through Vegas, and we went to the second night, and caught that. Went up and smoked a joint and hung out and shit like that.
See, that's a good question. We definitely should answer. You guys recommend any channels to listen to for news? That's a yes and no.
The Last American Vagabond.
Yes.
If you want like a news aggregate, there's a handful of good places. Like Off Guardian's great for some stuff like that, for like at least UK based and broad spectrum based. I do watch RT's like live feed on Rumble in the morning. That's hilarious. I'm not going to fall for it. I'm not going to perform on command. We all know what Jello did. We all do. We all do. And you know what? Honestly, like, fuck them. but though I feel a lot less hatred towards Jello, since I got to have so much of a good experience with Paul from Reagan Youth on the show and shit like that, and got to bring Keith McHenry on, and it was like New York City hardcore punk anarchist, fucking rock and roll legend, and Keith McHenry, Food Not Bombs anarchist fucking legend. It was like right after Steve Kirsch, so it's all right. It's okay. Fuck Jello, but ain't gonna get mad about it.
Then let's see. And for me, I would say, of course, T-Lab, especially if you're trying to stay abreast of like a lot of the stuff going on with, we call it the plague and the serum, they're some of the best.
And he's got the Last American Vagabond like affiliated universe too, because Bros has done some really good work. Derek Bros has done some really good work. Whitney Webb and everybody who writes through Unlimited.
Yeah, I would say look for journalists instead of like
Vanessa Beeley, Eva Bartlett, Jeremy Lafredo's been doing good stuff with Rebel News. Viva Fry's outlet really does. Rebel News does good stuff. If you would like a 3-hour daily run through of like a fuck ton of news before it's news, you could watch the AM Wake Up on Rockfin with me and Pasta, because that's what we do.
Yep.
And then we also have interviews with like brain breaking motherfuckers, and then we have dick jokes. And it's fun. It's fun as fuck. It's really like, dude, it's pretty rad.
Yeah, like I say, if you're still trying to kind of like figure yourself through all this stuff that's going on in the madness, I say definitely stick to do not watch any of the stuff that I watch. because it's like you have to know how to discern what's BS, what's not BS, how much of this is BS, what should you be digging a little deeper on, where are they omitting information, if you're going to look at any of the stuff I look at, because I watch Steve, I watch Steve and Glory, I watch him and Pasta, I
Check
watch
in with
Vanessa
the Union of
Beeley.
the Unwanted.
I watch all the shows and all the different people and follow, the Whitney Webbs, Vanessa Beeley, all these different journalists. But at the same time, also, I will go through and listen to what the Hill might be talking about. I might go and look at Weon. I might go and look at what is it, NDNT, whatever, I can't remember the acronym for, but it's another Indian news station.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's like what was it, New Republic? I listen to them. What is it?
Antiwar.com is fantastic.
So I listen to a ton of different people and then skim through what they're talking about and what's not. And so I listen to people who I know are solid over here, but because these other outlets might have the bigger budget to go all these other places, it gives you the story to look at, and then I can go relay back like, hey, Steve, what's up on this thing over here? And he's like, oh, yeah, the whatchamacallit or whatever. And so, I relate back, and it's kind of a loop. We all talk to each other and kind of share information and compare notes.
Well, and we've got researchers and stuff like that, and we're always there's people that are AM wake up producers or like longtime slow news day producers that send us stuff. I didn't mention Patrick, but
we did. I don't think did we mention Patrick?
Did not mention Patrick. Did mention Eva. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of people, and then there's
I don't really listen to InfoWars, but Jason Burmis is another one.
There's a website called Slashdot that's just like a tech aggregate that I get a ton of stuff from all the time. But I mean, really, like a good chunk of stuff does come from the people that produce the shows that are sending us stuff. And then
Copeland Morris says Indian Punchline. Not familiar with that, or maybe he's cracking a joke.
Children's Health Defense had a ton of really good covers. Steve Kirsch's Substack. Like if I ever want to reaffirm the fact that I'm not necessarily low-key madly in love with Tessa Fights Robots, I will go to Tessa Fights Robots' Substack, and but I mean her shit's awesome for sure. Yeah. There's so many different like people who are just brilliant in so many different genres. Check out Union of the Unwanted every other Monday, because there's all kinds of murderers that just show up on there. Vanda Nishiva's they're really knowledgeable. All kinds of fucking people. I mean, dude, we've had like the food forest abundance people on and permaculture people on. Like we're trying to look into getting like hempcrete people and shit like that. Like people that are actually showing you how you could potentially make all of this stuff yourself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. There are so many sources to go through. I would say just start trying to see and take some notes on the people that you see that come on our various different platforms.
Figure out what it is that you'd like to prioritize on that is also going to be that's also going to be more than just like what your new hobby is or what your new distraction is. Not necessarily, they're positive hobbies, but what I mean is like what you now do is just watch content based on this. And that's your hobby.
ICU, there we go. So Keith McHenry. There's so many, and like what Steve says is right. We can only as individuals, be able to stay on top of so many different subjects, and especially like Steve does it all week long, so he's able to get to more stuff than I am. So I'm like literally mashing as much stuff as I can into like 3 hours or so, 3 hours or less that I'll do on one night. And so that's the reason why now I'm doing like a little 10, 15-minute rundown at the beginning of every show. Stories that I feel like you might not have seen somewhere else. And since for me, foreign policy is always like my bigger thing, and foreign policy more in the defense and wars and things like that is more kind of my wheelhouse, what I look at, and of course, so-called conspiracy theories. So for me, I might not be the best guy to find out about everything that's in Build Back Better, but I will talk to people and bring them on for those different things. And so if you're looking specifically at going through Build Back Better and every single thing that's in it, you might want to follow people who that's their number one go-to, and then they might cover some of, well, I'm not gonna say might, more than likely they'll cover some of the foreign policy issues that'll overlap with what I talk about. But Steve and Pasta cover a ton of different things, so I would definitely say,
and what's cool
one easy
is
source, AM Wake Up.
What's cool is that like we have the time, because it's 5 3-hour shows a week back. We have the time to where we can bring somebody on to like explain some shit in depth for an hour or so, and then we can get back into whatever it was we wanted to get into. So the ability to have like really knowledgeable guests come in the middle of a rapid fire, connect the dots to all kinds of things, news, and I'm gonna go ahead and say comedy because I think it's fucking funny.
All the damn impressions you're doing, of course it's comedy. I was sitting up there like, I love when you do you'll do a Klaus and then a Biden, and then you'll switch into like what is that PM from Australia?
Oh, Jacinda Ardern.
Yes. I literally watch him just jump in and out of these different accents.
I can do 5 voices, and then there are several other people that are basically that voice. That's funny.
Yeah, I heard you say that before. Prop says, "Where did Allie go?" I'm not sure. I mean, she was in here earlier. She might have had something to do, but we'll see. But I guess let's see. Let me check the Rock Fins, see if there's any more questions over there. No, I think we're good there. Oh wow, Rockfin jumped up to 11 people over here.
What up, Rockfin?
Let's see, Indian novelist and activist. I hope I don't pronounce this too messed up. Arun Hati Roy, recommend Indian Punchline. That's how I got turned on to MK. Parad Kumar is an excellent writer there. Thank you for the tip, Copeland Morris. Thank you. But I'm gonna have to keep that. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just screenshot it right now. That way, I will remember to look him up. Why am I drawing blank on the guy who I listen to? Because one of the guys I listen to, he's a historian out of India, and he's I think he's a nuclear physicist or something like that also. And so he does a really good job breaking down some of the politics between like India and China, and some of the stuff like we might not even have a clue about. I see Steven has hopped in the building. He says, "Go watch Lake Michigan Monster. It was banned in 4 lakes."
All right, that's clever. That's clever. That's clever.
Current state of India news, current state of Indie news. So, are you saying Indie News Network, or are you just indie media in general?
I think he means indie media in general.
Oh, yeah, he says too many grifters up under.
Well, look. Here's what it is. The independent media as it is exists based largely off of copying everything the traditional media is and does. And all of the really popular political shows are all essentially modeled off of what the Young Turks were doing, or like Dave Rubin was doing, or Joe Rogan was doing. And that's it. And there are people that like openly, are trying to do like an older school radio thing. And like we kind of are, for sure. But when you have an independent media that is 95% a carbon copy of, and 1 degree to 5 degrees to the left or to the right of the traditional media, what they're doing is they're becoming the mainstream media for the next generation.
Yep.
So that's largely what independent media is right now. It's the people who are going to define the allowable parameters of conversation in proper discussion. And if you listen to the most popular member of the mainstream media currently, Joe Rogan, who has 3 times the audience that Tucker Carlson does, 3.5 times, making him inarguably part of the mainstream media on Spotify and all that other stuff. If you listen to him and who he's gassing up, it's The Hill, or it's Crystal Ball, and whatever their freaking stupid little grift is now. But that's who he's pointing to as the people who are the de facto, the Joe Rogan wing of the independent media or the mainstream media. Now, so you're going to have, it's going to be those outlets and the outlets that are seen as like the respectable adversaries to traditional corporate press. They're going to be the establishment media. They're going to become the establishment media. They're forming the outer parameters of it now. You could talk about ivermectin once Joe Rogan did. You could question.
Yeah.
You could ask a couple of questions. Once, hey, dog. Once, come here, buddy. Hey, Gomez. But you could start asking questions. Go tell the 10-year-old to stop barking at his brother. You do that. You do that.
Yeah. I mean, even well, Prop says Jimmy Dore stands might get mad. Well, but here's the thing. Jimmy Dore falls into that where if Jimmy Dore says it, then the YouTube algorithm will allow us to be able to say it. It's weird how that crap works.
Well, because then it's 1.5 years too late. So it's all right. You can talk about it now. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Or it's 6 months too late. Or it's, but the average
is trying to get us in trouble there. I will, I'll let Steve do it. I'm not going to do it because I've been trying to be at peace with people that I don't
man, it's
but I'm not answering that.
The top 5, you already know who they are. They're the people that were taking millions and millions of dollars of Clinton donor money. They're the people who every 5 minutes.
I'm like outside of TYT, outside of TYT, The Hill and Breaking Points, like outside of them, oh
my God, dude! I mean, you got Ben Shapiro has a whole freaking media outlet. Like, there's an entire political wing dedicated to keep people funneled back into the Republican Party. Most of those shows exist to funnel people back into the Republican Party. All of these shows, or at least in the new establishment media, all of these shows exist to push social issue wedges and divisions between people who ordinarily should be figuring out they have more in common than they do different. Okay, we can't get him up to the 2nd floor where we are without our landlord, who is right next door to us, noticing. But every time I do a show here, we could maybe, that Gomez does interrupt. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even.
What we get?
I don't even
once-
know who Haas. I've never heard of Haas, so I don't even
I have
know
no
who that
idea who
is.
that. Yeah, I have no idea.
I
who that
mean,
is.
Jackson Hinkle, I don't really listen to him enough to know really even what he's talking about most of the time. I just kind of see his name and a title and kind of, I'm doing my own thing. There's people like
I don't
Steve and all
think-
that I prefer to listen to. Ben
I think
Shapiro,
the-
I would never listen to.
On that list, the
I
only
can't
two
stand
people
TYT.
the
And
only
I don't
two
listen to
people on
Tim
that, like,
Pool.
I'll point to TYT because they took the millions in Katzenberg money, but at this point, they're not even the worst grifters. They're not pulling the numbers that Ben Shapiro or Tim Pool are. Those other two dudes aren't in any way, shape, or form either. Like, if you want to talk about who the biggest grifters are, look at who are pulling the biggest numbers.
Mhm.
You know, that's who your establishment media is.
That's more like,
like
a Hassan Piker.
I don't even
or-
know if Ben Shapiro qualifies for that person, like what his personal shit is doing. I really don't. Like, I think the only actual, like, large number grifter on that list that qualifies really is freaking Tim Pool. I really don't think anybody else on that list has a significant sized enough audience to qualify as a major grifter.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
definitely
it's
throw Hassan in there, like a Vouch in there.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the way that I'm looking at. I don't know anything like I'm not speaking in
Yes.
terms of like ambition or anything
There's so
like
many.
that. You know, that's a completely different thing.
And then there is a category of the ones who are just, they're already big and they've been grifting for a while, and who's like, as far as indie, because when I think indie media, I don't even think of those people as indie media anymore. They're like
Right.
way too large that I don't consider them indie media. When you're in the like 100,000 area, I don't factor you indie media really.
Well, when
much at
you're
all.
a talking point on the legacy corporate press,
Yeah.
you know,
Need a bucket or a mop for that. Wow, I see you. Wow. Jack Posobiec. What do you think of him?
I mean, yeah, he's an op. Everybody
Yeah.
knows that, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. Like, I had somebody get mad at me because they were like, Jack Posobiec's a Fed. And I'm like, thanks, tweet from 2015 that everybody already knew.
That was like when Jacobin came out. It was like, I think YouTube is going after independent media. Really?
But yeah, I mean,
Two
look,
years
it
too
is-
late.
you know, really, again, you gotta we're talking about, you know, fuck, dude, like, and I like a lot of people that have I know a couple of people now and been on shows with at least like 2 or 3 people who have shows on the Blaze, but I think as a network that's gotta be looked at as a way bigger grifter platform
Mhm.
than fucking even like anything that IRL is or whatever. You know, that's Glenn Beck's baby. It's huge, dude. It's huge. And it's not legacy media.
I'm glad I don't even know what they even talk about. I don't even listen to these two.
I don't know anything about either of them really.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I really don't.
I've seen a couple of Caleb's like clips.
I like saw when he was on RT like a couple of years back. That's really about it. And then occasionally
I know
I'll see
the
somebody's
people-
interviewing him.
I know that people have really strong opinions one way or the other about Caleb's like style of communism or whatever. I know that Jesse was on the show this morning saying that he was going to go play music at Dude's conference next week in Chicago. Garland Nixon's going to speak there. Tara Reid's going to speak there. It's like some anti-imperialism thing that his commie party is putting on. But I mean, I don't like he's at least putting people in front of a microphone who aren't communists at his thing to talk about the thing that they're there to talk about. I don't, I mean, does that make that dude, I don't know. He's a published author. He's a television personality. He kind of looks like Howdy Doody, and he's an Ohio commie who seems to be pretty sincere about being his particular brand of Ohio commie. That's legit all I know about the dude.
Okay. Well, I'll put it on the screen anyway. Well, let's see if you feel like answering this question or not. Let's see. I'll go to this one first because it's still kind of matching that one. Maupin has a think tank called the Center for Political Innovation. So he is all politics, the rest of the machine.
Yeah, if he thinks he can run candidates through this system and that's how we're gonna get communism, then sure, I'll agree with that.
Wallace.
I don't know if that's the case. The only person I know from them is Sabby, and she's been on the show, and she's hella cool.
Yeah, so I only really talk to Sabby, and I've been on with JB.
I know they have people from the MCSC network on to like talk fucking like black pilled, white pilled, fucking real shit, whatever they do at Summit. I know Sabby goes out of her way to put glory on, but
I'll admit I don't like them. I don't. I've watched the couple of times I've watched them. I'm not a fan of them.
Who, the Vanguard?
Yeah.
They're the TMZ, right?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them. Yeah.
I don't know.
He's good at covering on the ground stuff, but
he's not. He's good at doing fucking. Let's put a microphone in a face for a clip.
That's what
to
I'm
make
saying.
Republicans look gay. That's all he's good for. Like he doesn't. Even his clickbait shit is bad. And he's out there
watch anything
with like
he does
the last clip I saw of that freaking idiot. He had like 3 of those fucking coffee filter face masks on, and he's like way arm's length at whoever he's talking to, who's looking at him like, the fuck are you on, bro? It's 90 degrees out here. You in a suit coat? You're in a suit coat? You look like a clown. Yeah.
It's socialism. They're still trying to argue. See, I didn't even know you guys were arguing.
Nah, dude, there was like a day where I said something and it was right before a panel, and like it was going off about the argument, but it was on the panel, and it had nothing to do with what I don't care. Everybody has a bad day.
Like I had somebody
probably having a bad day in the first place. So that's how the whole fucking thing started.
I had somebody that was like,
to be perfectly honest,
like, why are you interviewing Nico? I thought you guys don't like each other. I'm like, well, I had one time where we disagreed on something like 3 years ago. What would make you think that there's some kind of animosity from that? And it was it was like political. It wasn't personal. It wasn't this. I weighed on one thing. He weighed on another. But no, I like Nico's perfectly fine. So it's because you see us like
Nico House is a fucking shit talking, frustrating motherfucker, dude. And I have yelled at that dude on the phone for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and I will do it again.
Yes, and like I've been on with Nico, and we'll be on points. And Nico was like right on some points here and there, and then I've been right on some points here and there. And it's like I remember one time we were talking about like something Egypt or Rome or something like that. I was like, no, you're actually wrong. He was like, you sure about that? And then had to pull it up, and he's like, oh, I guess you're right. And so I mean, it happens. Yes, Nico does. No, he doesn't look like Florida. He looks like Miami.
He looks like Miami.
I used to live in Florida. I lived in North Florida. He is not representative of all. For one, everybody thinks like what that Miami vibe is how the whole state is. That is a big misconception.
No, that's pretty much just Miami.
Just Miami, exactly. It's the whole state is not like that.
It's not even Orlando.
No, Orlando's just like a tourist hub.
Yeah,
that's literally it. But a bunch of Germans and British people walking around.
Tampa's crazy.
I love Tampa. I mean, my
I love
cousin,
Tampa too, and I don't want to tell anybody because I don't want them to go.
Because a lot of people don't like Tampa, but every time I was down there and you know, down around Ybor City and all that, I was having a good time. And
Man.
my cousin, she lived down in the area. She now lives in Phoenix, I believe. But
Tampa's fucking
I
wild.
was like, dude, I said to myself,
wild.
if I was gonna stay in Florida, like for good, I would more than likely like to raise the kids and all that kind of stuff. I would stay in Tampa. I mean, it's just the right pace for me. Not too crowded or anything. Like Cologne and alligators, geez. Orlando is just Disney and arresting homeless people. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a fan of Orlando area. I mean, so I'll take Tampa. Right outside of Miami, I don't think I could do Miami every day. That would be too much. It was just way too much for me every day. And then I lived in North Florida in Jacksonville, which it grew on me. It was okay. So.
All right, stop being a downer, Jones.
Exactly. She always got to remind us of that kind of stuff. It's like every place has a downside.
Trying to get out of here. We're trying to get out of here on a high note.
Exactly. Well,
we just took a giant dab, so that's gonna happen. Anyway.
And you know, right when we're just about to get out of here, we stopped talking about the.
We're trying to get out of here a fucking hour ago.
They started hitting us with all these
jumping,
questions.
shit talking.
Exactly.
Fucking, hey, let me get something I can clip out. Go start some shit.
Wow, I'm not surprised. This channel is like. That Franco just
I'm not falling for it. I'm not.
Franco says YouTube hid the stream from me. Well, also I did put it up maybe late, so that could have had something to do with it. I put it up maybe 20 minutes before, but still at some point it should have clicked on. But I'm telling you, YouTube is not a fan of me, and they play with my views. Like,
oh no, YouTube's fucking. I couldn't. I'd follow you on YouTube. I couldn't find it. Like I had to go back to the tweet and then click on the thing, and that's how I found it.
Yeah, they don't like me. I mean, and now it's got to the point where Twitter doesn't even show. It doesn't even show that I'm live, even though I broadcasted through Periscope on there. Like when I have one where I know there's only 3 views, I'm like, yeah, something's a little off about this. And then all it takes is for somebody else to retweet it, and then boom, all of a sudden it jumps up 100 views out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I know that my account in particular is only good thing to. Oh God, Tim Black. God, I forgot about that dude.
Oh, that's right. That guy was a thing.
Yeah, I forgot. I mean, wow. Does he still do commentary? I mean, last I remember when he was going back and forth with, I think, Rome.
Does anybody know if that dude still has a show? He's got to be doing sports and like lifestyle shit by now. He's got to be.
Or he went back to just covering crime statistics, basically.
There's no way that dude's still trying to do like political commentary.
The video gets played from the beginning instead of the live mark. That's interesting. Prop is trolling hard now. Talking about Tim Black is better than ever.
Oh, well, good for him. Go with God, Tim Black. Go with God.
Wow. Yeah, I figured that's what I figured. Prop says, nah, Tim is on the black politics. I knew it. That's what he did before. He used to be like, okay, and this person got shot and the police did that. And, this person, the police are messing with this kid. And that's literally what he did. Okay, somebody is, kidnapped. And somebody needs to do that work. He can stay out of politics. He can stay out of the politics lane, though.
Dude, fucking dollar store Malcolm Nance shit he was doing was kind of tired.
I left Tim Black so long ago. I don't even know what he covered for the. Like, I started listening to Tim Black like 2 years ago. Like, I think a lot of these people, when the pandemic hit, and I heard their opinions, I'm like, yeah, I'm done with you. That's like, Graham, a lot of those people, nope.
Nobody's gone with oh, okay, Glory. There you go. I was gonna say shank analysis. That's good. That's good, Glory. That's good. Well done.
Well, instead of Marcus Rage, they gave me a new nickname. I might switch it on Twitter,
We haven't
Marcus 12 Gauge.
All right. All right.
I think I like that. Rage with the 12 gauge. I don't know. Some ideas. Yeah, but yeah, we're gonna get out of here. I know you guys will keep asking us questions and keep us on here if I don't draw a hard line in the sand. But I appreciate all of y'all. Much love to everybody who came
You
through
gotta
here.
put your hand up all dismissive and be like, no more questions.
Yes.
We're done.
Shout out my lady. She hopped in for a little bit. Thanks, Liz. And everybody else, y'all have a good one. Make sure you go and check out Pasta and Steve in the morning. They do awesome stuff all week long. So, make sure to show those guys some love. While it says, I saw that some members of RBN are running for city council. Oh, gosh. See, why would you say that, Ostrich? Because already now, that's the reason why I go by Young Morpheus. I can't even go by my government name because of that issue there. Also, you type in Marcus Cage and you're going to type in the wrong stuff. So, hey, Marcus, where do I find info on? Y'all stop it. Stop it. But yeah, we're going to get out of here. Y'all have a good one. I got to cook some dinner. All righty, fellas.